Did you come to join me for my story time? I was just about to start reading Annie and the Wild Animals. This story was written by Jan Brett. She is the author. But something else she is the illustrator because she also made the pictures. We're going to learn some new words in this story. One of the words is tame. When you tame an animal, you teach it to live with people. Tame is the opposite of wild. Another word we're going to hear is grumpy. I just made a grumpy face. Sometimes I feel grumpy when I wake up early in the morning. One of the animals in our story is also going to be a little grumpy, and that just means he's in a bad mood. When we see new words in this story, we're going to stop and think about them, and we're going to use the clues to help us figure out what they mean. Are you ready to read? Get nice and cozy. Let's go. Annie and the Wild Animals. It had been snowing for days. Winter was lasting too long. Something was wrong with Annie's cat. Taffy had stopped playing. She ate more than usual. She slept all day long. Annie found her curled up in strange places. I wonder what the word usual means. The story says that Annie thought that something was wrong with her cat. Annie's cat had stopped playing, and she was sleeping all day. So the cat was acting different. She wasn't acting normally. I think when the story says she ate more than usual, it means that the cat was eating more than normal. One morning, Annie could not find Taffy anywhere. She looked and looked, but Taffy was gone. Annie was very lonely. I need a new friend, thought Annie. Looks like Taffy might be running away. She placed a corn cake at the edge of the wood. She imagined that a small furry animal would come and she would tame him for a pet. So Annie thinks that an animal might come for a corn cake and that she can tame him. Remember, tame is one of our vocabulary words. Tame means to teach it to live with people. The next morning, the corn cake was gone. In its place stood a giant moose. He's too big to tame, thought Annie. I'll have to try again. That night, Annie left another corn cake at the edge of the wood. The next morning, the moose was back, and a snarling wild cat was there too. He's too mean to tame, thought Annie. So Annie placed more corn cakes at the edge of the wood. A snarling wild cat. I wonder what snarling means. Annie thinks that the wild cat is too mean to tame. Maybe snarling is something like growling. I know that a lot of times you can tell a dog is angry if it's growling. The next morning, a big growling bear was there with the moose and the wild cat. Oh, look at her face. These don't look like her cute, cuddly friend Taffy. He's too grumpy for a pet, thought Annie. Annie made as many corn cakes as she could and left them at the edge of the wood. I see another one of our vocabulary words, grumpy. Annie thinks the bear is too grumpy to be a good pet. That means she thinks the bear is too bad of a mood to be a good pet. Let's see what happens next. At dawn, Annie heard the snarls and growls of the wild animals. There was the moose and the wildcat and the bear. They had been joined by a stag, his family, and a large gray wolf. Not one of them is soft and friendly like Taffy, thought Annie. All the next day, Annie made corn cakes and left them at the edge of the wood. All night long, she heard the sounds of wild animals eating the corn cakes. Annie awoke to find a great nose stuck through her window. It belonged to the moose, who was still hungry. There were wild animals everywhere. They roared for their next meal. The little house shook. The animals wanted more corn cakes, but when Annie looked into the barrel of cornmeal, it was empty. Oh no! She couldn't make any more corn cakes. Annie was very sad. She would never find a pet now. She missed Taffy very much. Oh, poor Annie. All that night, a warm breeze blew from the south. The snow melted and new buds could be seen on the plants and trees. The wood was coming alive again. By the next morning, the wild animals had gone back to the wood. They would find food there, now that spring had finally come. Then, as unexpected as the warm spring breeze, Taffy walked proudly into the yard. "Taffy!" Annie exclaimed. "You have come home. Where have you been?" Taffy turned and looked back the way she had come. Why do you think Taffy is turning to look back? Let's find out. Out of the wood came 3 soft and friendly kittens. Annie would not be alone anymore. Aww, look at the little kittens. The end. We found out that Annie's cat was acting strange at the beginning of the story, and I think that's because she was about to have kittens. We also saw that Annie kept putting out corn cakes for the animals, hoping that she could find a new pet that she could tame. Remember, tame is one of the words that we learned, and that just means to teach it to live with people. So animals that live in our home are animals that are tame. But the animals like the moose and the bear and the wolf, we can't really tame those animals because they're wild. I really hope that you enjoyed our story, Annie and the Wild Animals, and I'll see you next time. Bye.